Welcome to the SportsBros Podcast with your host, the head of creative, Eddie Cool. Also, the almighty B-Live and the money man, Scottie D. And now, without any further ado, here they are, the SportsBros. What's going on, world? This be your boy, Eddie Cool, a.k.a. the HOC, the head of creative up in this thing, and welcome to another edition of the Sports Bros Podcast. Episode 17, almost said 15, but it's episode 17 of the Sports Bros Podcast. And as always, you know I'm not rolling solo. I got my bros with me. And as always, we got the almighty B-Live.
What's going on in the world today? This be your boy, the almighty B-Live. I want to take a quick moment to shout out to my sister, Angel Strickland. She just made the move to Queens, New York. And I want to give her a big shout out with that because that's about the only good news that's going on in that part of New York right now. So one part of New York is going pretty good. The other one, not so much. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yep, we sure will. And as always, the money man, Scottie D.
Everywhere around the world, they're coming to America. Boys, I just wanted to say happy Independence Week to you both. And to our listeners out there.
All right.
And also, as of our recording time, happy Bobby Bonilla Day.
Nice.
That's right. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. What is that? $1.9 million he gets or something?
I think
some mess like that.
1.19 million until 2036.
So Bobby Bonilla was such an a-hole that they paid him to go away. And I think they were on the hook for like $5 million or something. This is the Mets we're talking about back in the day.
Yep.
And
the Mets.
His agent negotiated a deal for him to get basically $1 million every year, the 1st of July for 25 years. And for them, it's a good deal for them too, because as time goes on, they're just going to have more money to spend on TV contracts and all that. $1 million a year. That's a nothing burger for them. But Bobby Bonilla and his agent, boy, it's payday every July. What a great deal for everybody.
Yeah, great deal for everybody. I'm trying to figure out, fellas, where in the hell did we go wrong? But you know what?
We'll figure that out. I think that's where we went wrong.
yeah, that too, and not having our right hand tied behind our back, forcing us to throw our left, because those lefties are
for all of our listeners out there, if you really want to take a sneak peek of the money man's athletic prowess, please check out his latest edition of Scott's Thoughts, because that shows you in a nutshell how athletic he is. We're going to stick to radio. We're going to stick to podcasts.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Hot Spice and Hassan Pfeffer already. All right. We just going to go ahead and dive right into this here silly podcast we got called the Sports Bros Podcast. Once again, everybody, thanks for listening. We love you and we appreciate it. Speaking of everything going crazy, haywire, nuts, insanity, the NBA free agency period began on Sunday at 6 p.m. And, of course, there was a whole lot of shaking, moving, grooving. You going here, you going there. You thought you were going here, but you're going over here. Everything, so forth and so such. It was wild. But the top headline is the Brooklyn Nets. Yeah, you remember when B-Live just mentioned about that side of New York that's doing great? The Brooklyn Nets have pulled off an absolute coup, the coolest of all coups. They have intentions of signing Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and DeAndre Jordan. All three of them going to the Brooklyn Nets. The almighty B-Live, how impactful is that move right there?
Let me start off by saying that there's a movement that's going on in the Facebook world where they say rings aren't guaranteed. I want to say that to start off, because there's a lot. the one thing that's so beautiful about this free agency period is the fact that every year for the past 5 years, it has gotten more and more and more impactful. There's been years where they've done stuff just to lead up to this moment in time right here, knowing that players are going to opt out on their contracts. They're going to test the free agent market. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. The NBA TV contracts are getting larger and larger. More money is out there to play and everything. So a moment such as this, that the Brooklyn Nets are able to manage and finagle this big three, kudos to them. But I also say this. Didn't they just recently, I'm going to say, was it about 10 years ago, something like that? Wasn't it like they tried to get Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Jason Terry, and that was supposed to be the new big three. I call them the geriatric three because they were all at the end of their primes and everything, and the Brooklyn Nets shipped off draft picks and everything to pick up these three, and it took them this long to finally make some moves because of that. So we're going to hope that this pans out for them.
Be like, that was in
2013 that they made it. So
6 years ago.
The worst, the worst trade in the history of the NBA.
I was like, okay. I mean, Kevin Garnett at the time was 57 years old.
Wow.
And Paul Pierce, I don't know if anybody listens to NBA. Was it on? He's on ESPN. He's an ESPN NBA commentator. Have you heard Paul Pierce talk recently? Wasn't he in the penalty box for us at some point in time, or should he be? Or I feel like I want to pull up a video and put him back in the penalty box, just thinking about his name and everything, and comparing himself to other greats. And I think he said he was better than D Wade and all kinds of other mess. And I don't know. I digress.
You know what? I'm glad you said something because I was putting together the penalty box and I'm like, somebody's missing. Glad you brought that up. Yeah. So Scottie D, where you at on this whole NBA free agent frenzy?
Well, yeah. The thing with Brooklyn, they're getting KD, but they're not getting him next year. And the year after that, who knows how strong, it might take him a whole year once he's healthy enough to play to get reacclimated to the game. So you're looking at 2 years really before they're thinking this is going to pay off. By then, Kyrie's going to be almost right at 30 and KD will be over 30. It seems like a good idea right now, and on paper it looks good, but that I don't like it. I mean, for them, I think long term that's going to hinder them. I think it's going to be more of a setback. It's going to be setting them up more for disappointment than anything. But I really don't care about the Nets. I'm more worried about the Lakers. Obviously, I'm watching all these names fly off the board, and the ones that troubled me were Kemba Walker. And then, he's going to the Celtics, and I'm thinking, all right, well, the Lakers were talking about getting him. That's gone. They traded Lonzo Ball, their point guard, so they need a point guard. And then it seemed like the pieces were going to fit where D'Angelo Russell was going to be reunited with the Lakers. He's off to Golden State in that sign-and trade. So the Lakers seem to be putting their eggs in the Kawhi Leonard basket right now. I think they had a meeting with him over the weekend, or they were planning to on Sunday anyway, and if that doesn't work out, the Lakers could be on the outside looking in when it comes to all the top free agents. And they worked so hard to get the slot to be able to fill that max contract. And now they could be out because they've been courting Kawhi Leonard and missing out on the other opportunities.
They need the Lakers need some shooters, man. I mean, that's good. They got that firepower, but they need some doggone shooters. Speaking of shooters, Kemba Walker, who had a career year last year, he completes a sign-and trade deal with Terry Rozier. Kemba goes to Boston, signs a 4-year, $141 million contract, and Terry Rozier, 3 years, $58 million to go to the Charlotte Hornets. Ooh.
And Rozier's a nice player, though. At least they didn't come out of it empty-handed. Anyway, I think Rozier's got a nice future in the NBA.
Yeah. Before we went on, to our listeners, before we went on air, we have a little conversation. A little chatter talk. Michael Jordan hasn't done anything for Kemba Walker except giving him opportunity to come play in the organization. As far as putting talent around him, Michael Jordan has not done that. But you know what? I'm going to save that rant for another day. So more notable contracts. Let's see. Tobias Harris. He remains with Philly, 5 years, $180 million.
Hold on. Before how you gonna save that rant for another day? What?
I'm gonna have to, man.
Michael Jordan, clearly, like the best player that Charlotte has possibly ever had in the history of the franchise, the first or the second go round when they were the Hornets and the Bobcats and the Hornets again from New Orleans and did this and all that and everything. Kemba Walker has blood, sweat, and tears. Yep. And you have the audacity and the disrespect to not offer him a max contract. At least offer it to him. That's the problem that I have with you, Eddie. Cool, you know what? You can save it for another time, because you know what? Me ranting and then you ranting at the same time might eat us up for time. But I'm not gonna let it go by. Michael Jordan, what are you doing? I get it. I get it that the Charlotte Hornets might be your side piece, and the Jordan brand makes all this money. Got Javier Molina for the St. Louis Cardinals wearing a Jordan brand chest protector in baseball.
Protector.
I'm saying it. I went off on a tangent, but I want it to be known that the Jordan brand, the shoe deals and all that, that's his baby. He's treating the Charlotte Hornets like it's a side piece. Like, you know what? I'll holler at you every now and again when I want to get a piece. I don't know if there's some kids listeners out there. I'm sorry. I might be going rated PG-13, rated R. But that's how my rant is right now when it comes to Michael Jordan. Stop treating my beloved Charlotte Hornets basketball franchise as a side piece. Pay players and make it attractive for people to want to come there. Look at just a couple steps down the road, see what the Panthers are doing. Players want to go to Charlotte to play. Charlotte is a mecca of a town. It is growing. This would be a premier opportunity to freaking bring in talent there to make it even bigger. I want to move to Charlotte and retire. Get my season tickets to the Panthers and the Hornets and call it a day. Michael Jordan, you're making it hard for me. I'm telling you. I'm sorry. Breathe. Woo-sa.
All right, B-Live. Catch your breath, get your life, and do what you got to do. Scottie D, do you share the same sentiments about the mishandling of Kemba Walker in Charlotte?
Sure. Sure.
Scottie D said, man, I can't follow that up.
He was so passionate about it. Boy, I think he forgot where he was. He was lost in his thoughts. Like, I'm not going to debate him on that. Good enough here.
This is great. All right, as I mentioned, Tobias Harris stays with the Phillies, 5 years, $180 million. Kristaps Porzingis stays in Dallas, 5 years, $158 million. Jimmy Butler signs one of those sign-in trade, or as I like to call it, a swap and switch deal, where he gets 4 years, $104 million. Nikola Vukovic plays in Orlando, real good player. He was on my fantasy basketball team a few years ago. He stays in Orlando, 4 years, $100 million. Al Horford goes to Philadelphia, 4 years, $109 million. Chris Middleton gets a max with Milwaukee, 5 years, $178 million. D'Angelo Russell, you thought he was going to the Lakers, but hold up, wait a minute, as the Money Man mentioned. He goes to the Golden State Warriors, 4 years, $117 million. Am I skipping anybody? Oh, my new favorite player, Jamal Murray of the Denver Nuggets, 5 years, $170 million. And, of course, Klay Thompson, 5 years, $189 million. Everybody thought he was gone, but he's going to stick around and get some free rehab. So, fellas, this here free agency period has just started, and it ain't over yet. It is far from over.
I'm going to say this real quick because Wojnarowski, whatever, I probably didn't say his name right for ESPN. Woj. Just so that our listeners do understand a little bit about this free agency process. none of these contracts are official until July 6th. This was actually the beginning period where teams could actually talk to players. So, and I was watching First Take just a little bit ago, and I can't even remember my dude's name. He said that for all of these deals that just so happen to drop on a dime just like that, that they're talking about, you telling me that nobody said a word to anybody before 6 o'clock yesterday?
There was some talking. Come on, I don't know who the hell they're trying to fool. Had to be some talking. With this, just like you said, be like, with this much money, somebody had to say something to somebody somewhere.
And Magic Johnson somewhere like, hold on now, y'all dudes is tampering, and I just happened to get caught.
Yeah, and he just got caught, and that's what it is. Speaking of getting caught, it is baseball season. Guess what? It is the All-Star break. Well, not yet, but shortly approaching will be the All-Star break, and of course the Midsummer Classic. And as we all know, the Home Run Derby is one of the feats that we see before the All-Star game. The day before, which is on the 8th, which is a Monday. The All-Star game is on the 9th on a Tuesday, just in case you want to tune in. And of course, we got participants as of right now. This list is asterisk, subject to change, for the Home Run Derby. We got Cleveland's own Carlos Santana, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. of the Toronto Blue Jays, reigning NL MVP Christian Yelich of the Milwaukee Brewers, Pete the Destroyer Alonso from the New York Mets, Scottie D's boy Josh Bell from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and Atlanta Braves' very own Ronald Acuna Jr. That's a pretty stacked field, fellas. So it's pretty stacked field. But B-Live, who's not in the home run?
Hold on. I was gonna save that. It's all right. You know what I'm saying? Gotta get a build up for it. But I'm gonna need you to pronounce my man's name right. It's Acuna.
I'm sorry.
Because he's going to win it all. I mean, my dude, Fear to Chop. I'm excited for him. Rising young talent. So, and isn't the All-Star game in Cleveland this year?
Yes, it is. My girlfriend and I have tried to price tickets to go watch the Home Run Derby. Asinine insane. Should have got them when they first made the announcement the year before. What you do not do when the All-Star festivities come to your town is hope you can find something. Okay, hope works in some situations, but this situation right here, get about.
I'm gonna learn from you because I do believe next year is in Atlanta, so I think I'm gonna need to go ahead and get my tickets right now because
some plans just might have to be made about that Atlanta trip.
Absolutely,
no doubt.
The Sports Bros Atlanta 2020. You think we can do that? You think get some press packet? Passes, be in the press box and doing some official things. I think might be able to do that.
I think so because I'll have my journalism and mass communications degree by then. So, be like, hey, look what I got. But I mean, we'll see how far that gets us. Scottie D, who you got winning this thing in the Home Run Derby?
What a depressing week it is for me. The All-Star week comes around, man. It's depressing, and not just because the Pirates are terrible and usually have one person there representing, but I watch sports every day of my life, pretty much, except that week because there's nothing else going on. It's a great week. It's a great week to catch up on movies that I've been wanting to see for a while. I'm not a big fan of the All-Star games in any sports. Actually, the baseball one is probably the best one because they can actually pitch and hit the ball normally, whereas in hockey they don't hit. The NBA they don't play defense. NFL is pathetic when it comes to their All-Star games. But I think the All-Star game is the kind of thing that would be awesome to be at, where you're seeing all the players together and the atmosphere is light and it's a lot of fun. But the Home Run Derby at this point to me, it's kind of just not nearly as fun to watch. It was a lot more fun during the steroid era.
What?
Just guys pumped up.
Here we go.
Just huge, big, hulking guys walking out there and hitting moonshot after moonshot. That was That was the golden age of the home run derby, man.
Who
The steroid era was beautiful when it came to All-Star Week.
Whose man is this? Who made you like this? Okay. You know.
Who would you rather watch in a home run derby? Ronald Acuna, or however you say his name, or Jason Giambi? Boom! I tell you, man.
Jason. Okay, wait a minute.
Fun.
Hold on. Stop it. You telling me out of all the players in the steroid era, you come up with Jason Giambi?
He was a home run derby beast, man. Jason Giambi and Barry Bonds, McGuire, those guys. That was the golden age of the derby.
Could you at least went with the vitiligo Sammy Sosa?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
God, what? Why, Sammy? Why? What? Who?
Yeah, Sammy has transitioned into Jerry Lewis, but we'll discuss that. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this. Yeah, that is the thing. Sammy Sosa, get some help. But anyway, I cannot believe you said that. Okay, you know what? I get it. Everybody wants to see the moonshot. Everybody wants to see the big one. But these players these days, they're hitting it just as strong. They're getting the ball out of there. I like to see young talent. It is unfortunate this day and age that your superstars don't participate in those all-star festivities like they used to 20 years ago. Like, we never see LeBron James in the dunk contest, but one of the biggest highlights back in the day was Michael Jordan versus Dominique Wilkins. Why can't we see stuff like that now? So it's one of those things. It is a little troubling, disheartening not to see your Aaron Judge. What's my dude from Texas? That's not. Why is he didn't hit a 500-foot home run? Why is he not in it? That hurt me deeply. But Gallo?
No. What that boy name? Yes, I sound country is all outdoors live on the air, but it is what it is. I mean, we amateurs. We ain't on a professional level yet, and even if we made it on a professional level, I'm gonna still let my country flow because it's gonna be authentic. Either way, I digress. We'll come back to who it is. My dude from Texas. That he has like 3 to 10 longest home runs this year. Mazzara. There's Nomar Mazzara.
Yep.
I knew it was on the tip of the tongue. I got it. My Alzheimer's almost kicked in. But all right.
Don't cut it out. Don't cut it out. But yeah, it's just like you say, it's just the highlight during the dunk contest was, Dominique versus Michael Jordan. And with the baseball, it was a ball about, McGuire, Sosa, and now, not as much, man. You got some pretty good hitters. These guys are not any slouches by the stretch of imagination. Like you said, be nice to see LeBron James in the dunk contest. Be nice to see Mike Trout in the home run derby. We can't always get what we want, but we always wind up being happy somehow, some way. All right, sticking with baseball. When the show first started, we made some predictions about who was going to the World Series. We didn't say actually who would win, but we made some predictions. All right, B-Live, you picked the Braves and the Astros. You want to change anything, or you want to keep it locked?
I'm gonna keep it locked. I'm very confident in my 2 picks. The Dodgers are scary. And I think their pitching is a little bit better than the Braves. But I think the Braves are going to make some type of move and pick up a closer or some bullpen help because they are the hottest team. I think they got the youngest, the most potential in the entire league right now. I think my Braves are still going to stick it out, win the National League and the American League. Houston Astros. What else can be said about them? Maybe the Yankees might challenge them because the Yankees are getting healthier right now. But I'm going to stick to my guns. Braves, Astros, World Series.
I'll tell you what, man, don't sleep on the Twins. Ooh, don't sleep on the Twins. Scottie D's prediction, He picked the Brewers and the Astros.
Yeah, Brewers are actually tied right now at the top of the NL Central with the Cubs, so that one's not looking too terrible. And the Astros had a little bit of a early something going on with them a little bit earlier. A couple injuries. I think Altuve was out, Correa was hurt, but yep. I feel okay about the Astros. But I'm telling you, man, I love the Yankees. They have overcome their injuries and coming out smelling like a rose, man. They're looking really good, and boy, it was nice to watch them destroy the Red Sox in that softball 2-game series in London over the weekend. They just put up runs left and right. So as much if I'm wrong and the Red Sox wither on the vine, I'll be happy. I'll be happy just watching the Red Sox suffer. I can deal with that. But in the meantime, my Pittsburgh Pirates are at 39-43 as we speak. All hope is lost in Pittsburgh.
See that.
Well, out on 39-43, you're not dead. I'm looking at the NL Central right now. You got the Cubs and the Brewers tied for number one spot. St. Louis, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati. I mean, those last three teams is a dogfight, and it ain't dead yet. It ain't all over yet.
Let me tell you something about the Pirates, Eddie Cool. They're dead.
They're only 5 games out.
They have Clint Hurdle as their manager, and they're under 500. You want to put a little bit of money on that?
No, that's not necessary. That is not necessary. I'm just playing devil's advocate. Sure. You know what? I might put some money on it since JR is going to owe me $50 at the end of the year. Yeah. That bet is still 100% active, and I'm gonna get my money on time. And for our listeners, if you want any background information about that, you need to be listening to all our podcasts. You'll know these things.
Exactly, because it's like this. If you're not listening to the SportsBros Podcast, you're not just missing out. You are severely missing out. Okay? That's a whole nother level of missing out. You don't want to suffer from FOMO, fear of missing out, by not listening to the SportsBros Podcast. Every Tuesday, you need to hit that subscribe button and be like, hey, I'm listening to the baddest sports podcast on these here internets. All right, and my prediction for the World Series, Braves and Astros. Who part of me wants to change it to the Twins because they're just on fire, man. But I'm just hoping that the Twins don't, play all this extremely good baseball and then fizzle out, come to playoffs. But
they lose to the Yankees in the playoffs every year, so they'll probably make it. And then I would bet on the Yankees just based on history.
I'm telling you, man, those Yankees look good, man. Just like you said, the way they were just destroyed. They had to take a trip across the pond to destroy the Red Sox. Not on American soil, but across the pond and destroy.
I mean, it was almost a home game because if you look at Yankee Stadium and how short the outfield is, heck, it was just like playing in Yankee Stadium. Center field was 380 feet. I think.
Yep.
I think in Yankee Stadium, right field is 315. So the fact that when they went over to London, they built, and if I'm not mistaken, they played at where West Ham United the soccer team plays at. So they made it into a makeshift baseball park, and like I said, center field was 380 feet. Of course, there's going to be scoring out the wazoo. It was literally the Giants playing the Patriots in the Super Bowl. The first game was 17-13. They both scored 6 runs in the first inning. Like, what in the world is going on? What in the haberdasheries and hemoglobins is going on? I had to steal that from one of my favorite comics, Tony Baker. Shout out to him, man. That dude is hilarious. But that was a football game, man. I don't know. It was cool and all to be in London. I wish I would be able to go to London this year for my beloved Panthers, but the law says otherwise. Whatever. Don't judge me. Moving on.
All right, so we sticking with our picks, and that is our segment, our baseball segment. The second half of the season should be exciting. It's very, very exciting. Choices of the Voices, our favorite part of the Sports Bros podcast. And it was fully loaded this week. I was getting everything together last night. I was like, wow, man, shout out to the listeners. Oh, yes, for future references. Oh, actually, not for references, but for the future. If you want to participate in the Choices of the Voices section, we encourage interaction, but as the head of creative, when I put this together, I would rather our listeners put their response on the post instead of, shoot me a direct message, because 9 times out of 10, it'll get lost in the shuffle. If we can have all the responses at one place, we greatly appreciate it. And it makes it easier for me. But I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm just telling you how to get, a better way to be heard and not be lost in the shuffle. Because as always, we are very, very, very extremely grateful for your participation in our Choices of the Voices section. All right, Money Man Scottie D, what's the question?
The question I posed last week was, what was the most heartbroken you've ever been as a sports fan? What completely tore your heart out? And like you, I actually had a couple people I had give me their responses. One of our new listeners, Eddie Martin, I spoke with him yesterday, and he is all things Boston. And he had a couple good examples, but his most heartbroken was the Bill Buckner through the legs 86 World Series play. And, it tends to be forgotten that Boston was a long-suffering fan base for a while there. They've had a lot of success, as I alluded to in my video not too long ago. But in 86, they were 1 out away from breaking a huge World Series drought, and we know what happened. The wheels came off, and then Bill Buckner became the GOAT. And God bless his soul, he just passed not too long ago, but he was a GOAT in Boston for many years because of that play. So that was an obvious, obvious heartbreaker for the New Englanders. And Jana Clem, she ran one by me. She mentioned that her most heartbroken was the second Patriots-Giants Super Bowl. B-Live, you kind of segued me into that one, but the first time the Giants upset the Patriots in the Super Bowl was when they were going for the undefeated season. And the next one, when they got them the second time, I think that was the one where Wes Welker dropped the ball that was deep in the Giants territory that would have kept possession for the Patriots. And ultimately, the Giants got the ball back and came down the field and ended up scoring late. So there was a couple of Boston people giving us some of their heartbreaking moments. At this point, not a lot of sympathy for Boston people because they had so many parades.
No, not none. No, not any. Nope, you get none from me. Sorry, but you get none from me. All the damn parades and stuff. I almost cussed it for a second. Almost got caught cussing.
I think you actually did cuss, but it's all right. I mean, what the FCC allows at this point in time,
It's almost
right. You know what I'm saying? It'll be all right.
Hey, shout out to the First Amendment. Okay, shout out to the First Amendment, baby. All right, Choices of the Voices. I got it right this time. Will Berry said both Panthers losses in the Super Bowl and the closing of Overtime Sports Cafe. Here we go.
That hurt.
Thanks a lot, Will. Right. Thanks a lot, Will.
It's so hard to say goodbye to overtime. All right. That is not my profession. I won't do that to my listeners ever again. All right, cool.
Oh, man, here we go. All right, Trey Duke says, I'm a Cowboys fan, and there's no way in hell I can pick just one. Scottie D, how you feel about that with being a Cowboys fan?
Oh, I feel that pain, man. If you saw the post on Facebook we put about this, the catch was the picture I used as a heartbreaking moment. As a kid, that one was super heartbreaking for me. And what a lot of people forget about is after Dwight Clark caught that ball, the 49ers won that game by a single point, but the Cowboys had enough time on the clock to come down and kick a field goal, and they were at midfield, and quarterback Danny White fumbled a shotgun snap, and that was ice from there. That was over with. So they could have even topped the catch had they come down and not screwed it up. But that was a toughie.
Considered one of the greatest moments in NFL history.
And just want to give quick shout out to the late Dwight Clark, near and dear to my heart. And that play was absolutely lovely to me because I don't like the Cowboys. I actually grew up a 49ers fan. And just a nice little segue into what college Dwight Clark went to. Any guesses, anyone?
All roads lead to Dabo. I knew you were using that as an excuse to just talk about Clemson. I just knew it.
So soon as he said the beloved Dwight Clark,
I'm
like, okay. I was like, okay, peace to the dead, but I know exactly where this is going. B-Live got in the car, turned it on, and put it in drive. We're not putting it in reverse. I'm just driving. You know where I'm going. I'm like, all roads lead to Dabo. Boy, here we go. Man. Never ends, never stops.
It never will. It never will.
Who else you got there?
Oh, man. Cool. All right, JR, who has redeemed himself parole out of the penalty box. He says the Eagles Super Bowl loss to the Patriots when Terrell Owens came back from that broken ankle. Was it broken ankle or broken leg? Well, anyways, he came back sooner than expected. Yes, that was a heartbreaker, definitely. I'm not even an Eagles fan. Not even an Eagles fan, but that's definitely a heart-wrenching moment when a player comes back from, a broken appendage to play a hell of I think he had 10 catches for 120 yards.
Yeah, Tio balled out that day. He did for sure.
Yeah, he balled out that day, and Donovan McNabb was like Jared Goff, deer in headlights. I'm telling you, man, that Super Bowl will do it to you every damn time. Let's see. JR also gave us a two-parter. He said the Tennessee Titans lost in the Super Bowl to the Rams.
That one was tough because they were that close. Wasn't it like the 1 inch line with like no time remaining? They couldn't get a time off or something like that. That is a horrible way to lose a game. Just you look back, you're like, where can I get those seconds back? Where can I get that time back? Because if one more play, you're in there and you win that Super Bowl. It's a done deal, but just the time to run out, and that was a big one.
Yeah, that was a big one. I mean, like I'm saying, I was a fan of none of the teams, but that hurt me, and I was like, oh, so close. No time left. Oh, so close. Mike Davis says Kemba Walker dropping it over Big Bad Gary McGee to beat and shatter our dreams of winning the Big East tournament.
Yeah, that one's near and dear to my heart too, because that's he's talking about Pitt basketball right there.
Pitt versus Connecticut.
That was in the Big East tournament. And Kemba Walker, actually that year, he single-handedly won the Big East tournament and then pretty much single-handedly won the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
he was on fire that year. But as a Pitt fan, that was a pretty solid team, and see him get knocked out. But I'll do him even one better. In the 2009 Elite Eight, they lost to Villanova. Pitt had never been to the Final Four, and they lost to Villanova with 0.5 of a second on the clock. And they would have gone to the Final Four, and they would have played. I don't know if they would have played North Carolina in the Final Four or in the championship game, but they would have matched up okay with them that year. I'd love to have seen them have that chance. But as a Pitt fan, it's hard because they've never been to a Final Four. The football team, they won the 1976 championship in football, and then in 2016 they were the co-national champions with Clemson. But other than that,
what?
What?
Yeah, 2016, Clemson won the national championship. The only team that beat them was Pitt. They were the co-national champions that year. So
you know what? I'm
with Central Florida.
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this because we're gonna change the script because I'm gonna go ahead and segue into it. That Clemson Pitt game.
Oh boy, it's a story behind it.
The thing about this is it plays right into that gut-wrenching moment because I've only been to Clemson's Death Valley one time in my life. I finally got the luxury to set foot in Clemson Memorial Stadium, Death Valley. I finally made it. The Clemson Tigers versus the Pittsburgh Panthers. I was freaking there for that game. I was at the game. The only time I've been to Clemson Memorial Stadium. I was told by multiple people that I could never go back to Death Valley.
Oh, wow.
I was a 5-hour trip from Clemson back to Fayetteville, North Carolina. I was supposed to go to Charlotte to watch the Panthers play Kansas City that weekend. I remember it all so very much. And I was very, very hurt. That was the longest 5-hour trip of my life. I'm pretty sure I cried in the car, a.k.a. Friday. It happened.
You gonna cry in the car.
But my
that's
only redeeming grace was the fact that my beloved Clemson Tigers did, after that, win the national championship. So you know what? Thank you, Pittsburgh. Thank you for humbling us, and thank you for giving us that drive and the co-national champions. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, it was nice.
You and Syracuse can go straight to hell. Thanks for bringing that up. All right.
Who else we got?
All right, speaking of the Big East, man, UConn's going back to the Big East. Shouldn't have never left in the first place. Rodney Bellamy, he also hits us with a two-parter. He says one of his all-time favorite Duke teams blew a second-half 18-point lead to Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. And then his second part was, since he knows we're all wrestling fans, was Ric Flair cheating to beat Sting. Every time Ric Flair would beat Sting, he would be mad. He would be aggravated. He'd be hot that the Nature Boy got one over on the Stinger. Uncle Max gave us one, and I feel I have to do this justice and read the entire quote. We ready, fellas?
Lay it on me.
Here we go. Saturday, December 1st, 2013. Bama at Auburn. Time is running out in the fourth quarter, and Nick Saban runs out the field goal unit with no chance of the kicker making it. 28-28, tie ball game. The kick is up, short. Auburn catches the football and runs it back for a kick six to end Alabama's undefeated season and a chance to play for the national championship. Saban outcoached himself on that one, as they just should have run the play and taken it to overtime. I'm sure I could hear Scott screaming, "Just run a play!" Then he certainly heard a robust WTF at overtime that evening. I was seriously upset for weeks after that call. It truly consumed me. Uncle Max, y'all, ladies and gentlemen. The legendary Uncle Max.
Yeah, losing to it's hard enough whenever you lose a heartbreaker in the way they lost it, but they lost that one to their biggest rival. I mean, losing that one to Auburn. If you're a Bama fan, that one has to really eat you. So, understood on that one.
Yeah, nothing hurts like those rivalry games, man. Nothing hurts. I mean, you can lose the Little Sisters of the Poor and be fine. I.e. Michigan losing to Appalachian State at one time. But when you lose to a rival, man, it's just does something to you. That means somebody got 365 days of bragging rights and be live. Shut up. All right.
See, I wasn't gonna do that. I was actually, because
Scott. Hey, Scott. You see how strong my cutoff game is.
I was going to actually mention, because now the newest rivalry in college football is Alabama versus Clemson. But before that happened, you already knew it. But I remember that game, and it was one of those things. Alabama had already positioned himself as the perennial. I can't talk today.
Perennial.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you. Cool.
Thank you, flowers.
Powerhouse in NCAA football. I mean, they were well on their way, are building their dynasty, et cetera, et cetera. That game right there was heard around the world. I mean, it had been like at least 107, 108 yard return. And I mean, it was one of those things where everybody was on the edge of their seats at this point in time watching that game. Because at the time, Auburn was no slouch either. Now, let's make sure that we put it into context. Auburn was up there. It's just they could never get over Big Brother. I mean, I mean, the only time they did was when my man Cam Newton came through and did his thing. But that was huge. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I wish I was at overtime to witness Uncle Max's pain, because he's an Alabama fan, and that's just how I am. I didn't like Alabama before. I don't like them now. I respect them. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. I mean, Clemson is now Alabama's big brother. I said it. Yeah, Clemson is 2-1 against Alabama in national championship games. Yeah, I said it. We're the new dynasty. We are there.
Can we move on, please?
Uh-oh.
It's not college football season yet. We have plenty of time to brag.
Hey man, he's in a rare form, but I'm pretty sure.
I mean, crying out loud.
But I'm pretty
sure to stay with us.
All right, and that's all the listeners I got on my end for choices of the voices.
I did see Martin Tracy also put one on there. Another Boston guy. He mentioned Rosie Ruiz. I'm not sure, Martin Tracy, Maddie. I'm not sure you're understanding these questions. What was most heartbroken? And if you don't know the Rosie Ruiz story, she was at the 1980 Boston Marathon. She won, but she only ran the last half mile, and she crossed the finish line and got interviewed and had the garland on her head, and she was faking sneezes at the interview and didn't really understand the lingo. She was a phony, and and she stole the glory of the Boston Marathon winner from the rightful winner. And I think she had done something similar in New York right before that. She took the subway to the finish line of the New York City Marathon, and that's how she got her qualifying time. But anyway, it's a big farce. If you're from Boston, I know Rosie Ruiz probably rings true, but I can't imagine that if you're from Boston, that's your most heartbreaking moment. So, Maddie, I think you're going to the penalty box this week.
Oh boy. Shout out to Martin, Uncle Max, Rodney, Mike Davis, JR, Trey Duke, and Will Berry for their contributions and choices of voice.
There was one more. Justin Riney, I believe, he posted a couple pictures of just the recent downfall of Boston Bruins in the Stanley Cup this year. He posted a picture.
Oh hell, they'll be
all right.
I just want a downfall. They'll be all right. They'll be just fine.
Hell. And I want to give a quick shout out to Scott's favorite fan, my mother, because she was the one that wanted to bring up the whole time I went to Death Valley, and
I almost did. I was gonna leave alone.
I want to make sure that she gets her just recognition. Mom, happy birthday to you again. She
happy birthday.
Her birthday was on June 25th, and I want to get back all the presents I gave her. Well, I don't think I gave her anything, but because I mean,
don't do it, boy. Don't do it to yourself. Shut up. Stop.
I want her to understand because she want to open up wounds and pour salt and lemon juice in them. I mean, she can get this work too. Love you, Mom. I enjoy the fact that you listen to the show and everything, and it definitely adds a new perspective to everything.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, my heartbreaking moment was just like Ill Will. The first Panthers Super Bowl loss, that really did me over. The second one not as much, but the first one that really what hurts the most was
how did he kick the ball out of bounds?
I don't know. One of John Casey was one of the most consistent kickers in NFL history, and then to get to the Super Bowl and just, I'm gonna kick the ball out of bounds. You big dummy! I mean, kick it. I mean, get a touchback.
Something. Get any. You give Tom Brady the ball on the 40-yard line, and
too much time, and too much space. I tell people, when you give Tom Brady too much, he'll bite you in your behind every single chance he gets. So that's my moment. Beli's moment was when he went to Death Valley and got disappointed. Scottie D, your moment was Dwight Clark and the catch.
and it was
What?
not. I have one more moment that is easily at the top of my list as one of the most heartbreaking moments of my life.
Let me grab some popcorn real quick because I'm gonna enjoy it.
You're going to enjoy it when I tell you what it is because, you might not have even been born yet, Junior. But in 1992, the Pittsburgh Pirates were facing the Atlanta Braves for the second consecutive year in the National League Championship Series. And the Pirates had won the World Series in 1979, but I was like 6 or 7 years old. So here we are. And as a college student, watching the Pirates finally be good again and be irrelevant again after a decade of not doing anything, to be one inning away from getting back to the World Series was so exciting. And if you remember, if you're a sports fan, you know what happened. The ninth inning, the Braves scored 3 runs, including the Francisco Cabrera single to Barry Bonds, who threw the ball to the plate, and Sid Bream, of all people, former Pirate, came around, lumbering around from second base and barely beat the tag by Mike LaValliere. And, man, I contend that was the single most devastating play in the history of baseball, because not only did the Pirates not go to the World Series, but starting the next season, they were losers for 20 consecutive seasons, which is a record for North American sports. So they went from one out away from going to the World Series to 20 consecutive losing seasons on that play. And man, that one hurts more than anything I've ever witnessed in sports.
Let me take a sip of Scott's Tears. It's so delicious. Oh, it's refreshing.
Wow.
Fear the chop, baby. You were absolutely right, Scott. You were absolutely right that I would enjoy that because I do remember that. And the 90s Atlanta Braves, it's just the greatest. The greatest. I don't care.
Yeah, they were the greatest. They had an annual fall collapse that I used to enjoy on a regular basis.
Well, it's all right. We still got one. We still got one in 95. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
And the Pitt football team got one in 2016 at Death Valley, baby.
Oh, wow.
Oh boy, here we go.
No. See, since he want to do things, we're going to do recent history because I do remember. I think it was the ACC championship game this year that Pittsburgh had a chance to redeem themselves. And did they even show up to that game?
You're pulling that out?
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Sorry conference, that sorry Pitt team.
Oh
that was a foregone conclusion. That wasn't even a heartbreaker for me. I was actually, I think I was watching wrestling that night, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think I watched that championship.
I bet so. Just want to make sure you understand. You want to bring up my team, co-national champions, because you get the audacity to say such words about.
You're drinking my tears there, pal. So yeah.
It's good and salty.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
All right. So
let's are we all finished with this topic for the week?
Yeah, this is bringing up some hard feelings and some bitter, some just.
Time to move on to a more pleasant topic. So,
Be Live # yellow raincoat. That's all I got to say.
I think this works out perfectly. That Scott's most tear-jerking moment and my tear-jerking moment were against our respective other teams.
That is true. They cross-reference.
that's pretty
crazy.
Cool.
All right. So for the next week's question, we're going to pose this: what athlete from the past would you like to bring back in their prime to compete against today's players? Now, I'm talking about bringing them back as their prime, not like Jim Brown. He's like 123 years old right now. I'm not talking about him competing in football today as 123-year-old Jim Brown. I'm talking about prime time Jim Brown or prime time Michael Jordan. I'm sure that's kind of an obvious one. But what athlete would you like to see in their prime from the past be transported and compete against today's players? So think about that one. Let us know. Like Eddie said, if you could just put that answer down on Facebook, I'll have that post up sometime Wednesday.
Yep, that way everything can stay in one place and we can continue this thing that we call the Choices of the Voices segment, one of our favorite segments of the show.
Love it.
Moving right along to the penalty box. Who said something silly, did something dumb, or just causing their teams pain, heartache, and strife? Let's go to the top. Scottie D's guy, Clint Hurdle, and the Pittsburgh Pirates owner for holding the team down and making Josh Bell and the fans suffer. All right. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Pirates, umpire Brian Gorman, the umpire that was in charge during the Braves and Pirates series a few weeks ago, who ejected the pitcher Joe Musgrove and Josh Donaldson after a minor brush-up where it was just nothing but, what you looking at? What you looking at? Shut up. What you looking at? You got boogers out your nose. Shut up. You got semen turds hanging out your mouth. Shut up. I'm going to hit you. No, you're not. That's pretty much how it was. And they both got ejected for the minor brush up. Just trash talking, man. Let them talk trash. When they start throwing punches, get them out of there. All right. We got Rafael Nadal for conducting a scratch and sniff test on worldwide television during multiple occasions. He was digging for dingleberries and digging for picking boogers and nose oysters, anything of that. Rafael Nadal, you're nasty.com. You're just nasty. Beli's favorite, Robert Kraft. And he'll tell you why.
Because I want the world to make sure and understand that Robert Kraft and his 39-year-old girlfriend that couldn't please him in bed, so he had to go to Jupiter, Florida to pay for some prostitutes to get his rocks off and everything. And he got charged. He was getting charged with a misdemeanor, but because of his money, they didn't want to prosecute and da-da-da. And now he wants to get a humanitarian award and blah, 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 and yada, yada. I don't care. I'm not going to let the world forget about him, the girlfriend, all of this stuff that he's doing. He's in my penalty box for life. Oh, my bad.
We got all track.
We got Robert Kraft. I'm on you.
You in there, and Be Live is on you. O.J. Simpson for wilding out on Twitter, stating that he's got some getting even to do and posting knife emojis. What are you doing, Juice? Like, come on, man. Come on. You need a handler. You need a handler. I know you're 72 years old, but dude, at this point, you need a handler.
He needs a handler that fits the glove. You know, that's all.
Look, he between the hat and the glove, I don't know. If it don't fit, you must have quit. I don't know who has a bigger head, him or former baseball player Kevin.
I don't care what anybody says. OJ did it. But I digress. All right, cool.
All right. Somebody that kind of slipped through the cracks during the initial penalty box section, Paul Pierce, okay, for making blasphemous comments, comparing himself to D Wade, and just for Paul Pierce doing Paul Pierce stuff. Okay.
Yeah, you're back. You're back in there.
You're back in that hashtag never forget. And of course, Scottie D's new favorite band, Doris Burke and the Steely Resolve.
Thank God Doris hasn't shown her stupid face on these NBA free agency shows. Oh, that would be awful. Doris has done it. Maybe Doris is on vacation, but so far the coast is clear. I've been looking around for her. So far, so good.
You know how they say when you talk to somebody, you talk when you start and then you see them. Yeah, hey, be careful. Make sure you don't talk her up.
Scotty, just to let you know, I started following her on Twitter. I want some hot ones.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I absolutely did. I am following Doris Burke on Twitter. I got to have some hot ones.
You know what? If her on Twitter isn't as bad as hearing her stupid voice. That's the problem. Her voice is so grating. It's just
I know she's going to record something, and I'm just going to send it to you immediately.
Oh, okay.
And then it's just because this is comedic gold. This is I love this. I love your disdain for Doris Burke. It is second to none. Like,
wait a minute, Scottie D just sent one in via text. The Almighty be live because all roads lead to Dabo. Is that my reading? But I digress. So,
oh man, I love it.
So that's the penalty box. Clint Hurdle, the Pirates organization, Brian Gorman for pulling the trigger too early, Rafael Nadal for just being plain nasty, dirt, boogers, dingleberries. Ronald Kraft for being extra nasty at this advanced stage of his life. OJ for being OJ. Doris Burke and Still Resolve. Scottie D's favorite band. And Paul Pierce just for being Paul Pierce.
And I'm throwing Martin Tracy. Matty Ice is in there too, yeah.
Oh, Martin Tracy.
We'll see if he answers this week's question better.
You got to pay attention to the questions, sir.
Martin Tracy for not paying attention. I'm adding that right now. We love you, but we got to get you. By law, state, federal, international, we got to get you. All right. And that is it for the penalty box. We have come to the portion of the show where we call the round of pepper. You know what it is. 3 topics, kind of sort of rapid fire style. Some good, some bad, some ugly, but all entertaining. And I'll go first. My first pepper point, I want to give a shout out to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Okay? You should know who he is through his father, but guess what? He's a chip off the old block. Such a cliche, but it's the truth, as he will be the youngest participant in this year's home run derby at the age of 20. Now, what was I doing at the age of 20? Illegally drinking, being grown. I wouldn't hit no baseballs like he was hitting them. I wasn't doing that. So big shout out to Vladimir Guerrero Jr. I hope he has a great career just like his father. Over to you, Scottie D.
The Pittsburgh Penguins traded Phil Kessel this past week. It was not a shocking move. We knew that they had shopped him before, and so Phil Kessel's time as a Penguin has come to an end. He's going off to Arizona to play with the Coyotes. But in the 4 years that Kessel was there, I think he came over mid-season, or I came in over prior to the 2016 season, somewhere in there, 15th season. Anyway, he helped the Penguins to 2 Stanley Cups. He was firepower, and he was just what the doctor ordered when they needed more scoring. So shout out to Phil Kessel, and thanks to him for his time in the Berg. Over to you, B Live.
All right. The favorite subject and topic of the SportsBros Podcast, one that Scottie D thoroughly enjoys, is the wonderful world of soccer. Woo! Yes, sir. Love it.
Here we go.
So
It's a beautiful game.
It's a beautiful game. And you know what? We got to represent America. And shout out to both the men's and the women's soccer team, both advancing to the semifinals of their respective tournaments. The women and the Women's World Cup, they will be facing England Tuesday at 3:00. And the men in the CONCACAF Gold Cup, they will be facing Jamaica Wednesday at 9 p.m. Both those games, I'm going to let you know right now, I'm going to have those games on sound, on site at Max Speed Shop at 482 North McPherson Church Road in Fayetteville, North Kakalaki, where you can find your boy, Soccer USA. Eddie Cool, there you go.
All right, here we go. And my second pepper point goes to the true ace of the Dodgers pitching staff. In the words of B-Live, yeah, I said it, Hoon Jin Ryu, number 99, the big kid from Korea. He has a 9-2 record and a 1.83 ERA. He got tattooed earlier this week for 7 runs, but other than that, he is a model of consistency. And why am I shouting him out? Because he was a contributing factor to me winning the 2013 Yahoo Public League Fantasy Baseball title. So shout out to Ryu, big number 99. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, I stated last week I really didn't watch much of the College World Series this year, and this past week I still didn't watch it. But Vanderbilt won, so I got to give a shout out to Vanderbilt for winning the College World Series over Michigan, who once again is a bridesmaid. It seems like they're the consummate bridesmaids to Ohio State in football, and they got to the championship game in basketball, losing to Villanova last year. So Vanderbilt, thumbs up to you. Be Live, over to you.
All right. Congratulations to Vanderbilt, and congratulations to the South Carolina Gamecocks for being in the same conference as Vanderbilt. So that means that the Gamecocks won the College World Series too, because that's how they operate. They piggyback off of other teams in the SEC conference.
Not on them. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, my second pepper point, I'm gonna go with Mike Trout. $430 million contract. The public wants to see you in the home run derby. I mentioned it to my bros earlier. $430 million the Angels are paying you. I feel like that sometime when I was a kid, my parents took me to the movies to see Angels in the outfield. And so that some of that movie money went to your contract. So in some way, somehow, some shape or fashion, I paid for you to have all that money. So guess what? I'm going to need you to be in the home run derby because I paid for it because I watched that movie 30 some years ago. And I'm going to need that to happen. My timing's off. I don't care. Mike Trout, I'm going to need you in the home run derby. Please give the public what they want, bro. You were the best player in baseball, and I thoroughly enjoy watching you. It would be nice. It would be really nice. Eddie Cool, here's that ball again, bro.
Thank you, sir. Show face Mike Trout is all we ask. My third and final pepper point goes to Kemba Walker for finally getting the hell up out of Charlotte. As we mentioned earlier, only thing Michael Jordan know how to run is his mouth. The Hornets are his side piece, and you got what's the Molina guy name again?
Yadier
Molina.
Yeah, Yadier Molina wearing Jordan brand chest plates. I'm not mad. Get your money, but look. Don't waste this young man's career. Much success to Kemba Walker getting his well-deserved max contract in Boston. Good job, young man. Bad business for you, Michael Jordan and the Charlotte Hornets. Over to you, Money Man Scottie.
Kemba Walker, there he is once again. He's like one of the stars of our show this week.
Yeah.
All right. So I heard the other day that Bob Lee is retiring from ESPN after 40 years. Bob Lee was one of those guys. He never jumped off the screen at you like Chris Berman did. And he never said a whole lot that's controversial and got you mad or fired up like maybe Stephen A. will do. But Bob Lee was just always one of those dudes he was always there. Just felt like the uncle at the party. Every time you go at a family reunion, you have the one uncle who's just kind of in the background, but he's always there. Bob Lee did a great job on Outside the Lines all those years, and he's going to be missed because he was a staple at ESPN right from the beginning of their telecasting, right when they came on the air. So shout out to Bob Lee for an awesome career at ESPN.
Yes, indeed. Shout out to Uncle Bob.
Absolutely, man. He Outside the Lines was one of those shows that really, I mean, just some of the cases that is the name of the title of the show spoke for itself. It was one of those things that really, I mean, and it really intrigued me just watching and listening to him and just the stories in sports that people don't talk about.
But professional. He was always just so even keeled.
Very.
So he will definitely be missed. My third pepper point, I've been waiting for this one. This is another hot one. And Scottie D, you alluded to it a little bit earlier, and I was a little concerned because you were saying about Kevin Durant and the risk reward that came behind him. You know, somebody that needs to take a risk and make something happen for the franchise that they're just increasingly getting pissed off about? James Dolan, New York Knicks, what in the hell are you doing? You got nobody. You picked up absolutely nobody. You missed out on the lottery. You completely swung and missed when it came to the free agency. You said it 3 months ago that you were going to pay top dollar. You had room for 2 max contracts, and you did none of that. Not a thing. You were in the Big Apple, the biggest city in America, the bright lights 24/7, the mecca of sports entertainment, Madison Square Garden, and you can get nobody to come to the Garden. Nobody. Spike Lee, I'm going to need you to get him. Stephen A. Smith, get him. Like, this is ridiculous. How is this man still an owner of the team? I'm actually, you know what? I'm glad, because if James Dolan wasn't in place, then Michael Jordan would be the worst owner in NBA. But you know what, James Dolan, you got to do something, bro. You got to do something, because Brooklyn is definitely showing you up. And I'm telling you, it might be a riot on your hands. They're going to be between, I guess, what was it, Charles Oakley had beef with, and just all kinds of other stuff. Dolan, you know what?
The fan and
But you know what? You already know how I am. I'm not privy. I'm not scared to put a franchise owner in the penalty box. Look at Robert Kraft. So you know what, James Dolan? Penalty box. It's done. I'm putting you in there. Robert Kraft, you might get off the hook. You might. I'm thinking about it. There might be room for 2 franchise owners. There's another organization and a manager in there. We'll see if we can fit you all in there because James Dolan, you are so in the penalty box. And I think that'll do it. Eddie Cool, go ahead and finish us off. Tell the people about some things. I'm going to tell you something too. Go ahead.
All right,
wow,
and Scott,
Stephen A.'s son right there going off.
Wow, going off. I'm just over here like, I know we do pre-press for time, but this is some good stuff. All right, so we all 3 got our pepper points in. A wonderful job, gentlemen. And we've reached the end of the show. But guess what? You can still keep in contact with us. Scottie D, Money Man, how can they reach you?
I will be at Molly Darcy's on Mondays at 6:00 for our live trivia show. And as always, Beast Ninja in Myrtle Beach. Check it out. Obstacle course training.
The best trivia on the beach, period. Okay? The Almighty Be Live, how can they reach you?
Check me out on Instagram and Twitter. I'm trying to do big things with that. This Be Your Boy Be Live, no I. THSBEYABOIBLIV to the E. And check us out. Check out the Sports Bros Podcast. We are on Twitter. We are on Instagram. We're working on a YouTube channel. My Twitter handle is at SportsBros PCast. Our Instagram handle is SportsBros Podcast. We are touching multiple social media outlets. We're trying to get all the goods to you, man. We're trying to grow every single day. We appreciate every one of our listeners, man. We love you guys. We want to go bigger and stronger just for you. Sports, by the fan, for the fan. We love you guys.
And that's exactly what you do. You can reach me on Facebook at the Sports Bros like page. I also dibble and dabble on the Twitter account and also on the Instagram account as well. Be Live, shout out to you for keeping those platforms alive. As busy as we get, you do a phenomenal job. And shout out to you, Scottie D, for pumping out back-to-back Scott Starts videos. And shout out to you, Be Live, for pumping out experience edition of What Happened Wednesdays. And me, I did something different this past Thursday. Instead of Tranquilo Thursday, there was entirely too much to talk about. So I did 3 things Thursday. That's right. 3 things Thursday. Something a little different from time to time. Also, you can catch me on Snapchat, Supercool5000. Instagram, Cool Season, all one word. And as I mentioned earlier, the Facebook Sports Bros like page. We want to thank you for checking us out each and every Tuesday, because we look forward to doing this every chance we get. So, fellas, what you think about this Sports Bros Fantasy Football League coming soon? You feeling that? You feeling that?
Absolutely.
Okay. You heard it, listeners. If you want parts of the Sports Bros Fantasy Football League, please let myself, the Almighty Be Live, or the Money Man, Scottie D, know.
I'll just make sure that you announce me correctly as the 3-time KFL Fantasy Football Champion. Just want to make sure that listeners know that.
Oh boy, back to break. Here we go.
Awesome. I'm so glad this is the end of the show. You have completely exhausted me today.
Well, for an exhausted Money Man, Scottie D, and an always turned up, amped up, cranked up Almighty Be Live, this be the head of creative, Eddie Cool, the HOC of this thing, at the Sports Bros Podcast. And in closing, do something good for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They will greatly appreciate it. And as always, this has been another edition of the Sports Bros Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Happy 4th of July.
Yes, sir.
Please be safe. And if you're doing fireworks, think of Jason Pierre-Paul. Bye, y'all.
America.